Couple days ago, me and my brother were hanging out late night doing regular guy things, drinking, watching sports, etc. We haven't seen each other in maybe 5 or 6 years, so naturally we started talking about life and what's been going on the past few years. Towards the end of our conversation, we started to get to the secrets. I mentioned something along the lines that I smoked for the first time and did various other substances. This was hard for me to tell because my whole life I was pretty much anti-meds and such. We both laughed about it, saying just don't let mom find out. The joke died out after a little bit, and then he just blurted out I cheated on my wife. At first it didn't register until I saw his face and he was dead serious. I for one hate cheaters, but I try to do my best not to judge anyone for their actions. He begins explaining this was something that happened about 4 years ago when his wife was always busy with work. She would travel a lot and be away for weeks at a time. He told me they were going through a tough time back then, lots of arguing, not communicating, and that he felt really lonely. During this same time my brother met a girl at his local gym, started off as friends, slowly kept bonding, and you guessed they did make love. He told me this occasion only happened once and pretty much cut her off after that night because he started to feel guilty for a short while. Few months later his relationship turned for the better for him and his wife. Pretty much after his wife's travel slowed down, his whole relationship has been great. They've both gotten promotions, bought a house, more family vacations. They have a kid. He told me life has been good to him now and he's just thankful things have finally worked out. As stated before, I hate cheaters and I've always felt that the person being cheated on always has the right. No. I know for sure this would probably destroy their marriage and there would be a fight for the kid. My heart tells me I have to tell her because it's the right thing to do, especially because I've known my brother to cheat one other time on an ex-girlfriend couple years before his current wife. My brain tells me it's none of my business and I should keep my mouth shut. I don't want to see their kid go throughout that kind of pain either. On one hand I betray my brother if I say something, on the other hand I betray our close family friend because I know this secret and I don't say anything. I wish he never told me. Ignorance is truly bliss. So there it is. Would I be the idiot if I said something? You are the idiot. If you did this you would be doing it solely for your own sense of self-righteousness. Follow your brain. He told you in confidence, he knows it was a mistake, and he is your brother. You may think she has a right to know, but she might not want to know. You just don't know, and sometimes ignorance really is bliss. Don't turn her life upside down for your own purposes. Let's break this down a bit. On one hand you have not telling his wife, which might end with a happy marriage and no divorce, or he might just do it again because he knows he got away with it once, but the way you said it makes it look like he was super guilty about it, which I think is not very likely to happen again. On the other hand, you tell his wife, they get divorced, you ruined your brother's marriage, on the surface, and your relationship with him and possibly the kid's childhood and future, but his wife would escape a cheating liar. In my opinion you are the idiot, because it's been 4 years, it's mostly in the past and your brother trusts you a lot. What you should do is encourage him to tell her the truth and sprint away from this problem. Not the idiot. As you said, it's the right thing to do to tell your brother's wife. But this would probably destroy your relationship with your brother and maybe some other family members. Maybe talk to him about coming clean to his wife, but going over his head might not be the best solution, for you at least. My son James just turned 16 this month and he decided he wanted to start working a part-time job. Just to have some extra spending money and to start saving up. He hasn't had much luck. I doubt many places are interested in hiring a teen with limited hours to work. James started to get annoyed with my wife after he found out she submitted a few applications for him. We had a whole talk about that and reminded her that James wants to do this job hunting on his own. Over a week ago James applied at this local clothing store he likes to shop at since he's familiar with the place. He was told the usual line when he spoke to the hiring manager, "We'll review your application and give you a call." He was really hoping to get this one, but after a week, he figured they were not gonna call. Earlier when I got home there was some tension. James was locked in his room and my wife seemed upset. I spoke to him first and he told me my wife called the store earlier and berated the hiring manager for giving my son false hope and lying to him about giving him a call when they clearly weren't going to. James heard the call from upstairs because she was yelling, and when he confronted my wife she said she was just angry on his behalf. That they should have called him anyways to let him know he didn't get the job. But obviously they are only going to call applicants they actually plan to hire. He's angry at my wife right now for interfering, and now he's going to be too embarrassed to go to that store again since they know who he is. I also confronted my wife and she kept saying she was only looking out for him. However good her intentions were, I told her she needed to stop being a helicopter mom here or she could ruin opportunities for him by interfering. My wife went to our room and shut the door. James wants an apology from her for embarrassing him. My wife says she did nothing wrong and is mad at me for calling her that. She said I was the one being an idiot for not caring if our son finds a job, and it's not fair for me to criticize her when she at least gives a damn. With the way she's being right now, I have to ask if maybe I went too far and was an idiot for calling her a helicopter mom. Not the idiot. This is the millionth story that I've read of moms ruining their child's admission chances into jobs or colleges. I'm sure you're aware that if a job doesn't call you after a week, you call for a follow-up. Maybe they were busy or maybe they weren't considering your son as much, but a follow-up is always good. Your wife most likely ruined that now. She's definitely being a helicopter mom, and that's sometimes hard to accept. Her intentions were good and I would do the same if I lived in a hypothetical world. I'm sure you both raised a decent kid, and her job as a mom will shine. Just give it some time. He'll land a good job, he'll have a good life, it'll happen, hopefully. But for now, she needs to sit back and let her son handle himself in this world. As a former hiring manager, this happens all the time. Please let your son know that they will understand if he goes in and apologizes. We always felt bad for these kids and realized it wasn't them. That won't get him the job, but he'll be able to go back to the store. As for your wife, she probably knows she's out of line. Say it once and let it go. Natural consequences will take care of that situation if she doesn't change, but it's unlikely she'll take your advice. She's not wrong about the frustration of collectively perpetuating this lie, but that will only change if job seekers start calling and complaining, not their moms. Maybe explaining it with "you're right, but" will open the door for changed behavior. Absolutely not the idiot. As someone who works in career advice and employment support, I can confirm that if that store was ever going to consider your son in the future, they won't ever consider him now. I'm afraid your wife ruined his chances. Her actions were rude and inappropriate. Employers do not want to deal with overbearing parents, and they won't hire someone whose parents call in on their behalf. Your son deserves an apology. I'll call my brother Mike and my ex Tammy. 10 years ago my then fiancée left me at the altar, the most humiliating thing I've ever been through, and went on our honeymoon with Mike. In her note she told me she loved him since high school, but he was never interested, so she used me to get to him. She claimed to have loved me at some point, but after a drunken one-night stand her and Mike knew they were soulmates. I'm not gonna lie, I was a wreck for about a year. Every time I tried to move forward that day her mother tearfully handed me the note and everyone's faces would set me back. But time's a healer, I've moved on. I disowned Mike and haven't spoken to both of them in 10 years. For the first 2 years my family hid they had any contact with him, but then just basically sat me down one day and told me Tammy was pregnant and Mike was planning to marry her soon, so I needed to get over because they were going to the wedding, baby shower, etc. To be honest, I was hurt at the why they went about it, but they're adults, I can't control what they do with their lives. I simply asked they not invite me to anything they would be at or expect me to forgive him, which they tried multiple times to make us talk, but after a year of no contact they got the picture. Fast forward to last week, I heard Mike and Tammy are expecting their 5th child, and Mike's business went bankrupt last September. Then the chain Tammy works at closed down and they have zero savings apparently. My family have hinted that my wife and I should help them because we are the most financially successful, for the kids' sake. My wife told them straight up no and said tell Mike to look for a job, and we left. A while later I got a call from an unknown number. I had a feeling who it was, but I just had to answer. From the moment I said hello, both Mike and Tammy started ranting about me needing to get over Tammy. My wife's a queen, saying I'm a piece of crap for punishing kids for something that happened years ago. Finally my brother asked me how does it feel to be the reason his kids go hungry. So I told him that's his problem, not mine. They started yelling and crying, so I just hung up. Since then my whole family is calling names for taking my anger out on Mike's innocent children. My wife said I should tell them all to go screw themselves and ask them to put their hands in their own pockets. I really am in love with your wife and I'm getting a tan from her blazing shiny spine. She is right. Plus, she is truly all the family you need. Mike and Tammy made their choice 10 years ago. The thing is, Tammy knew what she was doing and could have ended it way before the ceremony. Coupled with the fact she had a one-night stand, where your bro gets his culpability, the gross cherry on top. They took your honeymoon. I'd have sued her for that. I hope you got the ring back or dues for the cost. Oh yeah, might be good to mention to your family you already chipped in. And state the above reasons if they never paid you back. Not the idiot. They are complete idiots. If you are asking for someone to help you, you grovel at their feet, not tell them how crappy of a person they are. Secondly, how irresponsible of them to have a fifth child that they cannot support. Sorry about your family mess. I'd say just continue not having them in your life like you have been. If your parents want to help, then that's their choice. You owe your brother nothing. So after 10 years, the very first thing he says to you instead of "I'm sorry dude" is "you need to get over it." I'm assuming they know you're married, and saying you're punishing the kids they chose to have? Absolutely not the idiot. Just because you're blood related to someone does not mean they're worthy of being called family. If they realized they were soulmates, there are literally a million other ways to have told you other than just leaving you at the altar to embarrass you in front of everyone. They sound extremely narcissistic and selfish. Years ago in my early 20s, I was contacted by my ex from high school telling me I had a daughter, Sarah, who was already 6 at the time. It was a pretty huge shock to me. I was still young and had no idea how to be a father to a young kid. But I met her anyways. I know it was pretty dumb of me to have just taken my ex's word for it, but I genuinely thought Sarah was mine. I met Sarah a couple times a month for 4 months in order to get to know her. Even took her to Disneyland once. My brothers had known about her, but they were surprised when they found out I never asked for a paternity test. It didn't even occur to me until we had that talk. So right away I told my ex I wanted a paternity test, and what do you know, kid wasn't mine. That's when she confessed she knew who the father was, but he died when Sarah was a few months old and she just wanted her daughter to have a dad. I stopped having contact right after and told her to find another father figure for her daughter. Through the power of social media, Sarah, now 18, found me and initiated contact. At first I had no idea who she was until she mentioned ex's name. As it turned out, my ex never told her the truth, only that I had to go. Whatever that means. But Sarah's been trying to find me, I guess, and wanted us to have contact. I didn't want to be the one to tell Sarah, so I said speak with your mom about why I wasn't around. Ex finally told her, I guess, because Sarah messaged me again asking if we could meet. She said she knows I'm not her father, but I'm the only one she knows and would still like for us to have something between us. I told her it would be better if we didn't. Yes, I was in her life for a short period, but we are both strangers now. I have my own life with my own family, and she should focus on making her own family with people she cares about. Sarah was clearly not happy with it. She sent me more messages and tried to video call me. I told her we won't be having more contact and blocked her. A few days ago I find out she contacted my other family on Facebook, my sisters and one of my brothers. They heard her side of this and are saying I'm being too hard on the kid. My sister says she may not be mine, but to her I am still the only father figure she had in her life, so why not continue being that for her? It feels so insane to me. I have a wife and a son, she's not my daughter. It's hard to see how not wanting any more contact between is something bad. I told my family they are free to take up the mantle if they want, but I won't have anything else to do with her. But their argument is she wants me as a father figure in her life, and that's why I'm being too heartless with her. Am I the idiot? I'll go with no idiots here. On one hand, I know it's probably difficult and awkward for you to be a father to someone who you thought was your own child. And on the other, she's just looking for a father figure in her life. Since you were her in her life for a while as a father figure, she turned to you. UX is the idiot here. She lied to you and her for years. This must be really devastating for her, because her whole life she considered you as her father, and now, all of a sudden she's told that her real father died years ago. If you don't want to keep in contact with her, it's okay. But, at least meet her once and explain to her that it'll be difficult for you to take up a fatherly role in her life. No idiots here. You didn't have a relationship with Sarah, you were in her life for 4 months and only saw her a handful of times. You don't owe her a relationship, and actually it would be weird as hell to have one with her based purely on the fact that she doesn't have anyone else to call dad. I assume that Sarah's attitude may come from the version of all this that her mother has spun for years, so Sarah isn't the idiot either, though she is kinda intense. Not the idiot. I can understand why she might see you as a father figure since her mother has been lying about you all of these years. All she knew was that for the couple of months you were in her life she got to experience having a father and wants that back. Her mother is really the biggest idiot here. Unfortunately for her, this fantasy her mother has crafted is not true. It is unreasonable for her to expect you to want to be like a father to a girl you don't even know. She's likely going through a very hard time right now and I sympathize with her situation, but that still doesn't give her the right to try to demand you make her part of your family.